Alleluia, alleluia, alleluia. Your words, O Lord, give joy to my heart. Your teaching is light to my eyes. Alleluia, alleluia, alleluia.
My friends, the Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to St. Luke. Glory to you, O Lord. Great crowds were traveling with Jesus, and he turned and addressed them. If anyone comes to me without hating his father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, and even his own life, he cannot be my disciple. Whoever does not carry his own cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. Which of you, wishing to construct a tower, does not first sit down and calculate the cost, to see if there is enough for its completion? Otherwise, after laying the foundation and finding himself unable to finish the work, the onlookers should laugh at him and say, "This one began to build but did not have the resources to finish." Or what king, marching into battle, would not first sit down to decide whether with 10,000 troops he can successfully oppose another king, advancing upon him with 20,000 troops? But if not, while he is still far away, he will send such a delegation to ask for peace terms. In the same way, any one of you who does not renounce all his possessions cannot be my disciple. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Good morning. I wasn't sure if we were going to start Mass on time because I decided to go for a walk on the peninsula this morning, and coming back around 8:40, our little Geese family decided to reside on 6th Street for about 7 minutes or so. They wanted to trot across to the bell tower to get the first seats for tonight's fireworks at Waldemere. But if they did not move in another minute, they were going to become an early feast. But we're here, so that's what matters. This morning's homily is bookended by two mothers in my life, my mother and Mother Teresa. You see, my mother, she had just recently retired in the last 2 to 3 years as being a bank teller for M&T Bank for about 30 years in my hometown. And two lessons that my mother has taught me and that will continue to haunt me till the day I die is save, 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 and calculate the cost. Save and calculate the cost. Jesus is saying the second part to us in this morning's gospel. We are called to calculate the cost. What are we called to calculate the cost of, though? We are called to calculate the cost of what will bring us joy. In this morning's gospel, Jesus was on his way, his final stint, to Jerusalem to fulfill his purpose of why he came. And why he came was to bring new life. But new life would not come before the suffering of the cross. And the cross, to the Jews and to the Romans and to the Greeks of that time, was seen at face value as a sign of humiliation and demeaning. But Jesus was using that demeaning use of torture to bring new life. He reminded us in this morning's gospel that true joy is fulfilled in the cross. Not just in the suffering, but where the cross leads. And where the cross leads is to new life, new purpose, redemption. We must calculate the cost. Not the cost of the cross, but the cost of discipleship, so that we, you and I, can experience joy. The joy of being a disciple of Jesus Christ, found in the cross and resurrection, and then to share that joy with all that we meet. If you listen closely, there were two words that would catch the reader's ear in this morning's gospel. And that was the first word, great, as in great crowds, and the second was hate. The first, great. We hear this morning that great crowds were following Jesus on his final stint to Jerusalem. And so Jesus providentially was saying to them, following my way of discipleship will not just bring what you want, but it will bring what is needed for you. And sometimes what is needed for you is not always what you want. That's the meaning of discipleship. That's why he was addressing the crowd in such an abrasive term of saying, if you truly are going to follow me and follow me to Jerusalem, you must be willing to embrace the cross as well. But the second, hate. To our ear as Americans, we hear this word thrown around a lot lately. And to our English language, it does mean something very vile. But if you look at the term of the Greek and Aramaic of where this gospel is translated, it does not mean what we think it means in our culture. It actually means to prefer less. To prefer less. And so what Jesus was saying was, do you prefer myself or do you prefer what the world has to offer? Which do you prefer less? And that will measure the extent of discipleship and the extent of joy that will be given unto you. Joy is such a term that we use in the Christian life because it is called to be joyful, called to be exuberant. Being a Christian, being a disciple, embracing our cross, new life is not meant to be torturesome, but it's meant to be freeing and it's meant to give. It's meant to give new life that is only found in the risen Jesus. But it starts first with embracing the cross. And so, my friends, what is the cost that we are called to calculate? Discipleship. And are we ready to gauge that cost of discipleship to find joy? Now, I started out Mass this morning talking about Mother Teresa, and this is truly a historic day in the church. I'm 31 years old. This was a saint that I saw growing up doing her thing in Calcutta. A saint of our time. She knew joy, but she also knew the cross. Look to her as an inspiration today as well, to help us to carry our burdens, our pain, our sin, our crosses, so that we too may join with her and all the countless angels and saints in heaven one day and gather around that empty cross of the Lord in the glory of his resurrection. I leave you this morning with this quote from Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa said, "Joy is prayer. Joy is strength. Joy is love. Joy is a net of love by which you can catch souls." May we be strengthened by her example to carry our cross and to bring that joy of discipleship to all that we meet.